Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. I'm Amy Regan from Seesaw Art here in Manchester, New Hampshire. It's my pleasure today to be hosting an artist chat with Eleanor Croteau-LaBranche, who is also joining. I want to say thank you to Eleanor for being in this exhibition. It's been a really fun one for our March show here at the gallery. Want to just give a brief introduction about Eleanor. So Eleanor was born in 1990 in Manchester, New Hampshire, and creates painted paper collages that explore themes of nature, transformation, and light. Her work draws inspiration from surrealism, spiritual experiences, and poetry. Her intricate cut paper collages are printed and layered to create a textured iridescent surface that is both three-dimensional and luminous. While her subjects are primarily plant-based, she often incorporates symbols such as windows, seeds, and stars. I love that call out and made me look closer at the work. These works explore sunlight-dappled transitional spaces, reflecting on immeasurable distance between life and death, and more intriguingly, the passage from death into life again. Her pieces evoke themes of mystery, loss, and hope. As Croteau-LaBranche states, I feel an access to something universal when painting these rising and illuminated plants, whom I wish to give a hum all their own. Originally from southern New Hampshire, Croteau-LaBranche now lives in Manchester with her husband and energetic toddler. She holds a BFA from the Hampshire Institute of Art and teaches visual art full-time to elementary school students in Exeter, New Hampshire. So we're so happy to have you here. Eleanor, welcome, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Amy. I'm so glad to be here.
Well written. I love that so much. What a great artist statement to have put that together, especially the call out of the sunlight dappled feeling in your work. I see that so much when viewing these works. So when people come and visit me at the gallery, what can they expect to see on view this month?
On view, I have 8 works. They're all featuring plants or flowers of some kind. And these plants and flowers are existing in different transitional spaces, usually within frames, sometimes paper frames. I do have one diorama type box as well. So I see these plants as symbols of the human body and our physical selves. You know, we look up towards the sun, we breathe, we need water, we have our root system, we're planted on the earth. And I use the windows and sunlight in my artwork as another symbol for the other side or the spirit realm. I feel like we're close. We're closer than maybe we realize. We walk around and we're kind of stuck in our ego selves, our very materialistic world, but maybe that spirit realm or soul is a little bit more in reach than we thought.
Love that. Just the reminder that we are also natural beings is such a beautiful idea that I don't know, I just feel like we're so egotistical as humans as we sort of take over everything. But I saw this really beautiful graphic that was talking about, the monoculture, as a pyramid and humans are at the top, or there's sort of the inclusive culture where it's a circle and, human are part of and not just this top picture. And I really feel that in your work that it is, I feel like obviously death is something that is a little unknown, but thinking about that in the context of your work is really comforting. Maybe it's a returning to something and a transformation and less of an end, like a doorway opening in a way. If anyone has any questions, please pop them in the chat. I'll put a link to Eleanor's page as well on Seesaw, where you can really dive into these works as well. I just wanted to say that PSA, but yeah. I love in this piece here, and I really enjoy the name of it too, which I thought was really thoughtful. Midsummer, never again will life end. And I totally feel that way living in New Hampshire. Yeah. Middle of sort of July, August is 100% my favorite time. And it's how could it get better? This is it. And then February totally kicks my butt.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is the absolute worst, which is what happened this year. But I really see that. And when you have like, I feel like that's an important component too, is like, you know, when these flowers are in bloom. It is August when we see sunflower, and like, it's that gorgeous, gorgeous time. But I thought that that was a really, really beautiful title for this piece.
Thank you. Yeah, that's absolutely this piece. It's, when you're the pinnacle of summer and sunshine and warmth, and it literally feels like nothing bad could ever happen, or nothing unexpected could ever happen. You could just live in this like perfect sun-filled moment for forever. And it's nice to pretend sometimes that you could.
Yeah, I let myself do that in August, to be completely honest. Because I just love that idea in that moment in the summertime. And it's such a lovely month as well. So, we have some different views of the work, and I wanted to dive into this triptych. If you were ready to speak about it here, a really beautiful, it's actually right behind me in the gallery space here. And I'm really interested in learning about this piece and sort of where the inspiration comes from, and what you're saying with it.
Thank you. So I actually created this piece right here as a companion for the one that's in the middle of the triptych, but I can definitely speak to this one first. The middle of yes, this one was the first one that I created, and it felt kind of like there was movement. There was an ascension. So this plant in the forefront was almost kind of transforming and moving on in this like beautiful star shooting sort of way. And so it felt like, this is the transitional piece between the physical, like being born part, the afterlife part. So if you want to actually go on to the next one for a moment.
These are just some views. I love this gold element in the corner here. That's so beautiful.
One of the best parts about collage in painted paper collage is that you really get to take the next best step. You're not planning too much. I find that when I overplan a piece, it's not as successful. But when I really listen to what the piece needs or what the next step is, just based on what's there, it's kind of like a nice analogy for life, right? We never know what's next or what's going to happen. And so let's just take one more step or plan the next best step. So this piece, and I will be, was actually like in the afterlife and moments before Earth again. You're kind of traveling through this light back into life. It's not like, this is the spirit world in this view.
Yes. Wow. I love that. I love the blue. I love the gradient of the green, of the like the verdant beautifulness, and you're being drawn towards that center star. It's so beautiful. Excellent. Thank you, Danielle, for joining. Welcome, welcome. We are deep in conversation here. And I'm going to go back to the first.
Thank you.
Do you have a question, Daniela? Did you raise your hand? We'll see. Maybe she's just saying hi.
Okay. So yes, this one was more of like that egg cracking open. This star is kind of like this yolk running. You're down in the grass. A lot of times when I'm making art, I kind of make it from the view of what if you were down in the grass, like just being, in that very top layer of soil where there's some beautiful poetry by a poet named Louise, I think it's Gluck or Gweck, G-U-C-K. There's a cool German
thing. I'm going to say Gluck, but I know it's
Yes, thank you. And a lot of her poetry is from the view of a seed and being buried under the earth, and it's like that confusing, like disembodied voice that you're hearing of the trees overhead. You're seeing the light kind of peek through, but you're not quite this physical being yet, and it's that like seed and that plant like starting to unfurl. And I just think that's so unbelievably gorgeous. Like what what a view of beautiful possibility, like just to be that seed that's unfurling.
That's beautiful. So I know that you're a mother. Is that in the back of your mind or the forefront of your mind, or has it informed your work?
Yeah. It in a few ways. If we're talking conceptually, I feel like the act of giving birth was just so unreal.
Mm.
You're like you're almost outside of your body when it's happening. And the only other thing I can kind of equate it to is like being in this dream state where you're not quite connected to your physical self, but you still know that you are a being. And so I think that experience kind of just gave me another really incredible like life experience of who I am, beyond like this, these
Yeah.
hands, this head, like who I am as a soul. So
Mhm.
that was really incredible. And then if we're not talking conceptually, being a mother has really just influenced my schedule. I think I make more art now than I did before I had a child, because beforehand it's like, sure, you want to watch TV, great. You want to eat a bag of potato chips, like you go for it. But now it's like, no, you only have this tiny bit of time to work in the studio, so you better be in there. So that has actually been helpful.
Well, that's encouraging, isn't it? Or your brain is going and thinking, okay, next time I get studio time, I know what I'm going to do. Kind of like your list is endless instead of, I know of some artists who have the time, so they're like, well, I'm not really doing anything there, but I kind of like warm up for 3 hours a night. And it's like not a surprise that like a dude painter said that.
Right. Oh my gosh. One
Oh my goodness.
one interesting art studio tip, which I feel like has changed my
Mm.
life, and this is so small, but it's so interesting. I was reading an article about an artist that said that she makes 5-song playlists that go on a loop,
Oh,
and
wow.
they actually get her into this like meditative state. It doesn't even have to be like instrumental or meditative music. It could be the Backstreet Boys, but just
Yeah.
a 5-song loop, and it kind of helps you like really get into the zone. So I've been doing that, and that's been really, really cool, actually.
I love that. And it's kind of like, I don't know, I'm a classic person who'll listen to like an entire album. And once you listen to it a couple times, you know the next song that's coming on. So if you had like this motivational playlist and played it like an album on repeat,
Yeah.
that's really cool. I've never heard of that. I'm going to
Yep.
share that with so many artists. Thank you.
Of course.
Oh my goodness. Excellent. So, what a beautiful triptych. I just want to like take a look at it again here. I'm so interested in the mechanics of your work and sort of what it looks like. So we see these really beautiful, so well finished images here, where when you and I were chatting, on drop off, it was like you can go a lot of different ways with collage.
Yeah.
So to have that quality, you really have to take it to the next level and to be constantly thinking about the materials. Can you tell us a little bit about how you're able to get this such high quality in the work and how, just sort of how that comes out?
Thank you. I feel like every time I go to a gallery, I'm the person who is 2 inches from the piece, just like pulling apart how they did it. How did they get that texture? How did they, hang it on those magnetic clips? So I've been trying to pull apart people's process for a long time. And one thing that I think's been really helpful is that jelly printing. So I do cut paper
Mm.
layers. I'll sketch out an idea. I'll sketch out the layers on paper, and then I'll cut them with an X-Acto knife. And sometimes I'll move things around. Sometimes I'll take things out. I have a flat file shelf that's just full of like unused pieces, which is funny because I change my mind a lot. So the jelly printing on the layers has kind of helped make this almost like color pencil type texture,
Mm.
like a stippled like texture, which I feel like gives harmony to all the layers. So even though they're physically layered and built up on one another, that similar type texture and the sometimes I'm not going to say monochromatic, but like limited palette kind of helps her
Yeah.
everything. And I don't know, I take my time. Usually when I build a collage, I'll let it sit around for 6 months and I'll look at it, I'll take pictures of it. It's hard for me to decide when something is finished because, it's a collage, who knows?
Yeah, like you could kind of always sort of keep layering and keep going and thinking about either the theme, if it's, if it's reaching the theme or not. I love this, like the stained glass sort of texture here with the gold, but I also see butterfly wings behind it a little bit. This is such a precious piece.
Thank you. Yeah, I love stained glass. I've always kind of loved that saying that like nature is my church. And I'm not a super like organized religion type of person. I respect and agree with whatever anyone wants to do as long as it's not hurting anyone. But stained glass windows have always been a very favorite thing of mine, as well as, butterfly wings are kind of like nature's stained glass window. If you really look at the shapes and the lines and the way that the light travels through, how thin they are. So, yeah, I like connecting those two thoughts. I'm glad you picked up on it too, Amy.
Yeah, definitely. It's so fun when I'm working with the works before the show and thinking about them. I just get to spend so much time with them. I feel really, really lucky, and just it just sort of pulls on my thoughts about them so much. Like this, I read so much as a marigold.
Yeah.
I can almost smell the marigold smell.
Yeah.
It is so beautiful. There's so many layers there, like that, that beautiful flower texture.
Thank you. Yeah, it is a marigold, and I feel like I look quite often at the symbology behind certain flowers, and I know marigolds have been used in a lot of Day of the Dead celebrations to kind of help usher people like through that transition. This piece, One Night More, is about like knowing that something's going to end and you just wish so badly that you could have one more night. It's almost like your soul is on fire, that you want it so bad. It's living in that desperate moment, but it's not sad. It's just kind of it's the energy of it.
Yeah, this definitely feels like an ending in a way. Like it feels very serious. In a different way than the other works do to me anyways. But yeah, with the title of One Night More, I can just feel that there's just a yearning in this piece to me. It's so beautiful.
Thank you.
Let me see which one is next here. So this is one of my favorite pieces. I have to say, I could not believe how gorgeous this piece is. That moment in the window. I also love on your Instagram where you can see that there's like the piece and then the inspiration, like the actual flower that inspired it. So does that happen? Do you take photos of things and then are inspired?
Yes, when I get lucky, I can use photographic reference. I do think that it lends to like being able to render something more realistically when you have a photo to look at, how the light plays off of things. So when I can take photos and use them, I do, but there are not many botanical gardens around here. And, there's only a couple seasons that really have a lot of plant life. And so sometimes, with the little bit more simplistic abstract collages, I may be taking things that were from a photo reference, but then I kind of changed them a little bit. But yeah, so this one is very much just kind of quiet. Like I can almost hear like a tinkling in it of like the leaves rustling and the light kind of playing off of it. It's a little bit more like shaded, I would say, than like my other pieces that have like really strong light beams in them. So it's more intimate. It's more like what you discovered in an intimate moment.
It also has sort of a more autumnal feel where there's a little more of like a spring and like a golden feel to a lot of the other works. And I love the moth so much in it, the insect, or what I see as a moth.
Yeah, this was from a photo of a rose variety that's apparently a prehistoric like rose variety, which is so cool. And I just again love that idea of things repeating life cycles. Like, or when they say when you make a soup and you use like the same stock that you used from 100 soups before. I don't know. I'm terrible at cooking, so maybe that was a bad analogy, but kind of a similar thing where like the ancestry is there.
The longevity is there. So like with each season, it's calling back to the first season, which is something like one of my favorite things that I don't get to do too often is my friends will go camping at this spot. And the camping spot is just like, you pack everything in, you hike in, and it's like a half a mile or something like this. It's not like too insane. I usually go in the summertime when it's very nice and like beautiful up there off of 302 in New Hampshire. And when I go there, nothing has changed. Maybe I haven't been there in 2 or 3 years, but I head to the river. I find this rock that's like bigger than me that I love to lay on and like read something. And you just look around and you feel that like, I mean, I'm also in marketing, so it's like a very time-based, like sort of, and with the exhibitions, it's very month-based. And so everything is like so timing here as I sort of run along in the city. But then I get out into nature, I visit this big rock, and I just feel so grounded. And it's like nothing has changed, or slightly, the trees got a little taller or something like that. And I see that in this work where it's thinking about that one variety of rose that maybe has mutated teeny tiny. And it's sort of like, I also think of the images that NASA has put out of space, which are so gorgeous.
Yeah.
I keep seeing them. And you would think that seeing something like that would be really sort of alienating and make you feel really small, but it makes me feel really awesome that I get to be this tiny part in this whole solar system. Like it's very homecoming and very beautiful in a way. And I find as I get older, I just am like so surprised that like anything actually like has consistency or sort of works. Or is like, it's incredible to me that I'm very lucky. I get to wake up each day and say like, okay, like what's going on today? What am I excited about? And it just feels so special, honestly. And I see that specialness in your work.
Thank you. It is. I feel very lucky to be here, just in general, to be alive, no matter what difficulties I've gone through in my life. I've always just felt like I'm a hopeful person. I'm a positive person, and I'm so grateful for that. And I hope that reads in my work too, that it's, it's dealing with these really big life altering subjects, but it's hopeful, and it's like appreciating the moments and appreciating what we have, and appreciating that rock that you visit that is never changing,
It's going to be there forever, which feels so good. If nothing else, then I know the rock's probably going to be there by the river.
It will be.
And I love it when you're able to take something that's so delicate or intimate and make a piece about it and make it an entryway to discuss.
Yeah.
So I know that chatting with patrons this month, I'll get to say like, this is about transformation and sort of that idea. And it's really fun for me and to hear what people bring to that conversation through such a gorgeous, approachable piece. So it's kind of doing a lot of things at the same time, but that extra component. That's really fun for me. So I made a little mistake in my slides, so I'm going to stop presenting for a second.
Okay.
But if you wanted to talk to us about what your studio looks like, whether it's in your home, outside of your home, or sort of like how you find the time to continue to work.
Will do. So my studio is currently a dining room that has been transformed. My husband and I moved to this house in Manchester maybe 5 years ago, I would say 4 or 5 years ago. So we took a dining room and put some doors on there. It was just my studio. And then now he moved in and has his office for half of it. So we have this funny thing going on where like his clothes end up on my studio table. My paintings will end up on the floor all around his desk. And so it's this little like back and forth. And my daughter is now 3.5 and she has ended napping. And so before this, the dining room studio was a place I could, close the door during her nap and put my headphones on and really just kind of zone out. Naps don't exist anymore. So now she wanders in and she'll do some art, which I think is really sweet. It's nice for us to work alongside one another. I really appreciate those moments. And I see her already mirroring my kind of thoughtfulness about what I'm doing.
Wow.
She'll come up with these elaborate stories about what she's drawing and she'll make sure that we don't look at it until it's done yet. It's this long process. So I don't know. That's been really fun to kind of share a space with her as much as it can slow me down a little bit. I'm just trying to embrace it.
Yeah, I love that. And those moments together in that thoughtfulness and to see it coming through in her, where I'm sure she's picking up everything that you like, whether it's good or bad.
Yeah.
But to know that, I don't know, that's so loving. And you're already so thoughtful about the work. So to see that come through, that's amazing.
It's nice to see what your family kind of picks up from you subconsciously.
Yes.
And yeah, it's just nice to kind of see myself through her eyes. I've really been appreciating that. That's really beautiful.
I love that so much. Excellent. Let's see here. So, when do you find time to create work? Are you like an early morning person? Are you when you can get it done kind of thing, or like is it a consistent thing, or is it something that like you find that you get to create work?
Great question. I teach elementary art full time. So the times that I get to create work are very scheduled. Usually it's Saturdays and Sundays between 10 a.m. and 1 to 2 p.m. Sometimes at night, I'll get the gusto to go in the studio and do a little bit, but I am not a night person. I am fairly useless after 8 o'clock, 8:30. And I just love creating in the sun. I'm painting in the sun. Like, I don't want to make art in the dark personally. Or I have this like, sports people, I'm not a sports person, but here we go. Sports people wear like a jersey or a shirt a certain way, or like your lucky socks.
Yeah.
Like when I make art at night, I make weird mistakes. And this is just a superstitious thing. I'm sure it's not actually a thing, but I don't know. I need to work through this.
I am the same way because I'll be working on something for the gallery and I will realize I sort of have this rule that it's like nothing can go live or I can't do anything after 10:30 p.m. because whatever the point is, I'm going to miss it. And like it used to not be that true, but I've been getting up early in the morning. So you kind of feel that like tension once it starts getting past 10 o'clock that it's like, it's a tomorrow thing now. Because there's just no way I'm going to spell the artist's name wrong or get the name, like the time wrong or like whatever like specific thing, like all those details that I love, obviously. But there's just like no chance to like I've learned a couple times that it's like no, nothing live after 10:30 because
rule. I support you in that rule, honestly.
Oh, man, excellent. Just about finished fixing my mistake here, but one of the questions that I love asking artists is what keeps you coming back and showing up for creating artwork? It's hard. And sometimes you feel like, oh my goodness, like I don't even know why I do this. Like you get sort of burnt out. In that moment, what helps you stay engaged, or, what does your sort of rest look like, or what keeps you going?
So I mean, making art brings a lot of joy, of course. Not always. Like there's some frustrating or boring parts of making your work as well, like where it's kind of arduous. But I feel like the thing that keeps the hours going or keeps the concepts and the sketches and the work going is I fantasize about how great it's going to be, how great it's going to look, how awesome it'll look in a gallery. Like, I think I just have this really positive, warm view of the finished part of my work. And, of course, like, some things don't work out and you can scrap it and that's okay. But when you buy a lottery ticket and you fantasize about what if you win the lottery, I kind of do that with artwork. I don't need to sell it to like feel really good about it. I just kind of picture how great it's going to look and how nice it'll be on a wall and how proud I'll feel of it. I don't know. I think so. I grew up with a single father and he was a wonderful person. Like, I owe him so much, love him so much. And I didn't really have that many great female role models early in my life when I really started to do art. So when I would make a drawing, people would look at it and they'd give me a lot of positive, feedback or positive compliments. And so I feel like making art really became a place to learn about my self-worth.
Yeah.
And just feel confidence in myself. Like, wow, you are great. Like, wow, you can do it. And it's nice to create those opportunities in which you can continue to feel good about yourself. Like, in my own teaching, I teach 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders.
Wow.
I really just try to tell them that being an artist is a really healthy life. When I'm 80, I'm still going to be looking forward to like all the things I have left to learn. So it's a really positive, exciting outlook on, just loving life and loving learning, really.
I love that so much. Yeah. And I like from my angle of it and being like a curator and when putting together the exhibitions, like I am meeting people from all different generations. Like a great example is last week, a high school student asked for me to be their mentor on a project coming up. So I was like, oh, of course I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
And then I had an artist reach out who just moved to New Hampshire, and he is a great abstract artist and he is maybe 85. So I had a meeting with a high school student and like an 85-year-old person who was so thrilled and is like making connections in art in New Hampshire and was just like so excited to be involved and part of it. And to know that maybe you're still thinking about the same themes. I had a studio visit last Monday and the artist I met was like, yep, I was thinking about this in 1982 when I was in New York City, and here I am thinking about it in a slightly different way, but like this is my thing. And that feels really grounding as well. And like that there is that community and you're working on the same thing, which is wild. Getting a little glitch here, but I'm good. Excellent. So I am just going to present the slides and we can take a look at the last couple images that we have.
Thank you.
And let me get to slideshow mode. There we go. I love this piece so much. The iconography of the dandelion was really chat about with some patrons at the reception. They had actually purchased dandelion seeds to make like a patch to plant them on purpose in an area because there was something that occurred naturally, like somewhere where they used to live, and they were like, we love this idea. So I thought that was funny, the idea of like purchasing dandelion seeds, and then they had harvested it to make tea, which is good for detox apparently. But this is such like, it just sings. It's such a beautiful piece. It's a great scale too. I'm lucky enough to be able to look over and take a look at it, but it has this flow, like there's almost like a waterfall sort of flow. And even in the bottom left corner here, I don't know, there's something going on there. It's beautiful.
Thank you. I actually started making this because we found out that my dog, who's 5 years old, has a very aggressive cancer, and she unfortunately doesn't have much longer. And some of my favorite memories of her are just like rolling in dandelions. And again, it's just a symbol of life like
Yeah.
joyous life. And I really wanted it to come across as like just this strong happiness. There's some supporting movement around it, but it's really just about this.
Yeah, this like bright spot, this bright
Yeah.
star.
Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
that is such a beautiful thing. And you find out something about that and it completely changes your relationship because, you're thinking about one night more and
Yeah,
right? Like, oh,
absolutely.
that's so heartbreaking but beautiful at the same time. I
Mm,
just love this detail.
thank you.
There's so many layers there. It's gorgeous.
Thank you. And dandelions in general are just gorgeous. I know they're so common, people see them as weeds, but they have this. Okay, so if we're talking about like witchcraft for a minute, right? The witch like icon is the maiden, the mother, and the crone. And
Mhm.
the dandelion has the perfect 3 stage of that because you have the maiden like that bud, and then you have the mother is like the open flower, and then the crone is the
Mm.
the white wisp, and then it blows off into the sky, and it's just come
Yeah,
on.
and each part becomes its own, which
Yeah,
is amazing,
it's
right? Like each
back
part is a
around.
seed and then it just like goes from there. Oh, that is really beautiful. Plus that whole experience, it's such a singular in a way for the dandelion to have the that wispy part.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
so beautiful.
And also that's another memory of joy, right? When the dandelion turns into that wispy part, like who doesn't love blowing those into the air? Like it's kind of just this ongoing bittersweet, the underlying thought behind it is bitter and it's sad, but like it's that sweet like moment of joy of life that we can kind of put them side by side to really like see the two more clearly.
Definitely. Yeah, it's sort of like holding everything all together at once,
Yeah.
which is a hard thing to do, but you can see the joy and it helps you process what's happening at the same time.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. The last piece we have here is an absolute stunner.
Thank
This
you.
piece is gorgeous. Happy to report that we did find a buyer for it. So glad that it's going to be heading home with somebody. But like talking about the sunlight, like you just feel it in this piece. And I love the view where you get to see the roots, but also the flower. The name is really intriguing to me. It's just the whole piece is so intriguing to me. I love like there's this star, but it's in the relief in this where we've seen a lot of the stars that are gold and placed upon. So if you want to tell us about this piece.
Yeah. So for a long time in my work, I have been showing the underneath root system as well. So really just making clear that there's a beginning and then it kind of moves up into this like evolvement and then it kind of like wisps away into this other form. And this title is actually a line from a poem, another Louise Gluck poem. It's a little longer, but just about um, there is an end to suffering, and that that moment is like there will be a release moment, and that in itself is like really inspiring for people that are going through a lot. And of course, like death is not the only release, right? Like things change,
Yeah.
and I think it's just another like hopefulness about the cycle that things start anew again, chapters start anew, you come back down to that root system and then you get built back up again.
Definitely. I think of dahlias and how you dig up the dahlia root and you preserve it and then you plant it again. And it has that longevity and it has that like seasonality to it,
Yeah.
which is feeling really good. And we all know what it feels like to sort of be like at the end,
Right.
whatever that sort of feels like. And then
Right.
you think like, I don't know, I think about like certain things. I'm like, this can't go on, but it does. And like maybe there's an end and you didn't really know it was ending. And then you wake up one day and you're like, oh, I'm not even like thinking about that anymore in a way, which is really interesting to me.
Or even bad things that happen, like things that you would never want to happen. There was this proverb, I forget who it's from, but this like wise man kept saying to everything that happened in his life, is it good? Is it bad? Meaning, the thing that's happening to you might feel bad, it might seem bad, but what else is it leading to, or what other door will it open? And I think that's really interesting because we just don't know.
Yeah, for sure. And that brings a little bit of levity to whatever, it's tough. I feel like you and I are both like positive on the same level.
That's awesome.
Which is like, I'm always conscious of being like too positive in a way, like not in like I don't know, it's just interesting to me, but it does help to say like, okay, like what I try to say to myself is like, okay, you feel like crap, whatever, that's fine. Like you can have some time and feel like that, feel your feelings.
Yeah.
But then know in a small way, no matter what it is, hopefully there's going to be some brightness that comes out of the experience. And whether you're ready for that right when the experience is happening or later, that hopefully there's some little something, some little click, I call them, that's going to happen. That's really beautiful.
Silver lining.
Silver linings. Yes, definitely. That's what I was looking for. Hi, Daniela. Anyone who has any
I just
questions?
figure out how this works now.
What'd you say?
I said I finally figured out how this whole thing works here.
There you go.
I did want to kick in here before you guys hang up. I just wanted to say how much I love the whole joyous, connotation, and that I feel that the same way, especially right now. Joy is such an important part, and joy is a form of resistance. And I love that you work that into all your pieces and how sweet and glorious they all are. So I just wanted to say that.
Thank you so much, Daniela.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Excellent. So the exhibition is on view until March 30th, and anybody can jump on over to seesaw.gallery and check out our open hours and view the works from anywhere online. Also check out seesaw.gallery/visit. That's where I have all the open hours. I'll be here this weekend and next weekend. Plus I have a bunch of time to come down for an appointment and check out the works for whenever works for you. So I just want to say thank you so much, Ellie. One last question. How do we stay in contact with you? What's the best way?
Thank you. So you can definitely visit my Instagram page. I do spend probably too much time on there. So if you send me a DM there, I will see it. That is Eleanor C_LaBranche. Or you could check out my website, labrancheart.com.
Which is beautiful. Your website's gorgeous.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much for having me. I have had such a blast in this conversation. I really appreciate your time.
We appreciate you too, Ellie. So lovely to spend the time with everybody. And hopefully we'll see you at the gallery soon. And thanks so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.